Facing off with another grandmaster here. This is another Serbian grandmaster. There's a lot of grandmasters in Serbia, evidently. This gentleman has been a grandmaster since 1994. Zlatko Ilincic. And Miaoyi, of course, we don't have very many photos of her, but she's rated at 23.99 now. And we do have a photo of her and her grandmaster mother there. So her mother is an active grandmaster. Her grandfather, also a junior chess champion. But let's go ahead and get right into the game. Miaoyi starts the game with pawn to d4. The grandmaster responds with knight to f6. And so we got an Indian game. And now Miaoyi plays pawn to c4. The grandmaster plays pawn to e6. So this is a Nimzo Indian defense. Miaoyi now plays knight to f3. Excuse me, knight to c3. And now we have bishop to b4. And now, so pinning that knight to the king. And now Miaoyi plays pawn to f3. Preparing to take over the e4 square. And the grandmaster goes ahead and plays pawn to c5, attacking the center. And Miaoyi goes ahead and advances her pawn to d5. The grandmaster captures the pawn, so we have e captures on d5. Miaoyi captures back, pawn captures on d5, and the grandmaster goes ahead and gets his king safe, castles. And Miaoyi now plays that pawn to e4 as anticipated. That's the whole point of the f3 move. And now, up until this point, thousands of games have been played exactly like this. But the grandmaster plays a strange move here. He plays knight to h5, which is an inaccuracy. That's a mistake. He should have just maybe pushed the pawn here, preparing to get his bishop out. His knight was okay where it is, although so perhaps he was worried about the pawn push, but again, if he would have just played pawn to d6, this wouldn't have been an issue. So a bit of a mistake there for the grandmaster. And now Miaoyi decides she wants to go ahead and put her knight on the rim as well, so she plays knight to h3 there, seeming a bit awkward, but it was definitely a good move in the position, although perhaps bishop to e3 would have been a bit stronger. And now the grandmaster does push his pawn to d6, maybe enabling the bishop to perhaps get in the game a little later. And now Miaoyi goes ahead and attacks that knight on h5 with pawn to g4. And of course the grandmaster has to put the knight back to f6. Only reasonable place for that knight really to go. That was definitely the best move in the position. And now we see the purpose of Miaoyi earlier playing knight to h3. Now she moves her knight back to f2. So we have knight f2 by Miaoyi. And the grandmaster plays a6. And Miaoyi now plays pawn to a4. Grandmaster now plays knight b to d7. Knight b d7 played. And Miaoyi goes ahead and plays pawn to h4, going after that king's castle. Looking like Miaoyi is not going to castle here. And now the grandmaster plays queen to e7. And the computer recommending instead this would have been a better move, so saying that queen to e7 was an inaccuracy. Rook to b7 would have been better, preparing to push on b5, but nonetheless we have queen e7 on the board, and Miaoyi now plays bishop to e2. Definitely a good move. Also, maybe pushing the pawn is a good idea here. And the grandmaster now moves that poor knight again. From f6, it goes back to e8. So knight to e8 on the board. Maybe a better idea to go ahead and just push this pawn suggested by the computer. Seems like you could get away with just capturing the pawn, but okay. On the board, we have knight to e8. And Miaoyi now plays bishop to d2, breaking up that pin of the knight. And the grandmaster now repositions that knight again. So from f6, to e8, and now going to c7. So knight e7 on the board, and Lu Miaoyi actually moves her king to f1. So obviously foregoing her right to castle, and this is actually the best move in the position as suggested by Stockfish. And now the grandmaster goes ahead and puts his rook on e8 behind his queen, and that again is the best move in the position. And now Lu Miaoyi's king now goes to g2, so king g2 by Lu Miaoyi, and the grandmaster now moves his other knight to f8. So knight to f8, looking a little bit cramped on black's side of the board. So Lu Miaoyi definitely gaining some space early on in the game. And now we have bishop to f1. Lu Miaoyi also putting her pieces on the back rank. And the grandmaster plays bishop to d7 here. Bishop d7. And now Lu Miaoyi finds the strongest move in the position, a5. Just pushing the pawn there, gaining a little more space. Grandmaster then brings his rook back to b8. And Lu Miaoyi actually plays knight to a4. But this is not the best move in the position. In fact, the computer is saying this is a serious mistake. It prefers that she play pawn to f4, so ignoring this move, play pawn to f4. They would probably play knight here, and this is supposed to be a much better position. The evaluation is about the same, so it's difficult to say. I guess with pawn to f4, you're getting closer to attacking the king with your pawn structure. But again, yeah, so that's not the move that Lu Miaoyi plays. As I've said, she actually plays knight to a4. So knight to a4. The computer calls this a blunder, but it doesn't work out too badly for Lu Miaoyi. The grandmaster goes ahead and captures that knight, and of course Lu Miaoyi captures back with her rook. So rook capture. So the grandmaster played bishop captures a4 knight, and now rook captures on a4 for Lu Miaoyi, the best way to capture back. And then we have bishop captures d2 by the grandmaster, and of course Lu Miaoyi plays queen captures on d2, and the grandmaster repositions one of his knights once again. So we have knight to d7, and Lu Miaoyi now plays, well, she plays knight to d1 here, and the computer actually suggests that we play f4 instead, and we'll take a closer look at that. Yeah, so instead of playing knight to d1, it suggested that we play pawn instead to f4 here. I say we as if I'm playing for Lu Miaoyi, and then black would probably play pawn to b6, and then white could play pawn to g5. Black could play pawn captures on a5, so b captures a5. We have rook captures a5, and now black plays rook to b4. And I don't like the way this is looking. This doesn't look better to me, but okay, let's continue a little further here. White could play rook to h3, and now, yeah, the black now has their rooks doubled on the b file there. That doesn't seem better to me. White could then offer up a pawn trade here, maybe to reduce the power of these two rooks. So white could play, well, they could have taken the pawn anyway on b2, or black could have taken the pawn on b2, but instead moving the pawn to b3, the rook could capture on b3, and then perhaps you go ahead and capture here, but you're allowing black to take the open file there. So I'm not sure how this variation is better for black, but again, or excuse me, I'm not sure how this variation is better for white, but this is what was suggested by the engine. Okay. So there's a closer look at that. So not what happened on the board. Lu Miaoyi actually plays knight to d1, and then the grandmaster goes ahead and attacks the rook with pawn to b5. Pawn to b5. Hey, an opportunity for en passant here, but Lu Miaoyi does not play en passant. She goes ahead and moves her rook back to a1, and the grandmaster advances his c pawn. We have pawn to c4. 4, definitely the best move in the position. And Lu Miaoyi now moves that knight to e3, so that was the point of moving the knight to d1 in the first place, trying to get that better square. And now the grandmaster plays knight to c5, and Lu Miaoyi plays knight to f5, now attacking the queen. So of course the grandmaster's got to reposition his queen. He finds the best spot for her on e5. So queen e5, and now Lu Miaoyi plays rook to e1. It's said that this is the best move. So queen to c3, which is kind of offering a queen trade. And if Lu Miaoyi is playing for the win, then the queen trade is going to lean towards drawish tendencies for the game. And this guy being a grandmaster, he should be pretty good at getting draws. So it does make sense to me that Lu Miaoyi plays rook to e1, avoiding the queen trade. And now the grandmaster plays knight to b3, attacking her queen. And she finds the best spot for her queen, moving the queen back to f2, or moving her queen to f2. And the grandmaster then penetrates the position a little further with queen to f4, the best move, a great move in the position. And now Lu Miaoyi plays pawn to h5. And again, the computer suggests that she should play queen to g3, basically forcing a queen trade. So yeah, if Lu Miaoyi is playing for a win, she probably doesn't want the queen trade. So that's why she pushes the pawn instead. So yeah, she plays pawn to h5 here. The grandmaster grabs the pawn on a5. And now Lu Miaoyi plays kind of a strange move. She plays rook to h4 here. The engine suggesting that she just go ahead and push the pawn. Now, she does push the pawn, so the variation ends up looking just about the same anyway. So the grandmaster goes ahead and plays his knight back to e8. Seems like a lot of horsing around for the grandmaster. Those knights are jumping around all over the place. And now Lu Miaoyi does push the pawn to e5. And the grandmaster plays d-captures on e5. And now rook to e4 played by Lu Miaoyi, attacking the queen and setting herself up to win the pawn. It might have been better to play queen to c1 for the grandmaster, but instead he does play queen to g5. And now Lu Miaoyi plays queen to c5, which they're calling, the engine is calling that a blunder, says you should have just go ahead and picked up the free pawn there. But Lu Miaoyi is going to have the opportunity to capture that pawn anyway. So we'll just continue here. The grandmaster plays pawn to h4, which was the best move in the position. Just perhaps giving the king some luft, defending the queen against any kind of nastiness that might occur. And now Lu Miaoyi does capture the pawn on e5. So rook captures e5. And now we have queen to g6, which according to the engines is a blunder. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at what he should have done instead. So instead of playing queen to f6 as played in the game, the grandmaster should have played knight to b3. Knight to b3, forcing Lu Miaoyi to move her queen. She would have been probably the best move for white would be queen to f2, and then playing queen to f6. Just kind of reducing the activity of white's pieces. And then white's best move would be queen to e3. And then black could play king to h8. And white would play, best move would be king to h3. And then we have black playing knight to d6. And then we have a knight trade, as white should play knight captures on d6, queen captures d6. And this position would be a little bit better for black, although black is still losing in this position, down 1.7 points by the estimation of Stockfish. So Again, yeah, this is just what black should have played according to Stockfish, as his move was actually a blunder. All right. But yeah, he didn't play that. He played queen to f6. And now Miaoyi plays pawn to f4, defending the rook as it was hanging. And now we have knight to b7 by the grandmaster, attacking Miaoyi's queen. And now she does move her queen back to e3. And now knight to d6, as we saw coming in the other variation. Miaoyi, instead of capturing the knight, though, plays knight to e7 check, attacking the grandmaster's king. And he probably should have moved to h8, but it is okay to move the king to f8. That's a fine enough move. And now Miaoyi plays pawn to g5, looking to break up the king's castle. This is the strongest move in the position by far. The grandmaster plays h captures on g5. We have pawn captures, so f pawn captures on g5, attacking the queen. And now, yeah, not a lot to do in the position, so the grandmaster actually plays queen captures the defended rook. And of course, Miaoyi, so we had queen captures on e5, and now queen captures queen on e5 once again. And the grandmaster then brings his rook to e8, which is the best move he can come up with in the position. There are no better moves for him. Yeah, he's lost in this position at this point. And Miaoyi finds the strongest move in the position. She plays pawn to h6. And the grandmaster does go ahead and grab the knight, so rook captures on e7. And now Miaoyi plays pawn captures on g5. And it is in this position on move 41 that the grandmaster does resign the game. There's not a lot to be done here. In fact, the engine says we have mate in 11 or mate in 13. If he plays king to e8, that's mate in 13. And if he plays, if he plays king to g8, it's mate in 1 with rook just dropping down here. So obviously you can't play queen to g8. But again, the game is over, but we'll go ahead and take a look at this this extended variation to see why this grandmaster did resign the game. So yeah, he could have played, so he resigns, but best play would be king to e8. And then actually, Miaoyi, the fastest checkmate would be to sacrifice the queen for the knight on d6. So queen captures d6. And then, of course, they would play knight captures on d6. And then Miaoyi could play pawn to g8 equals queen. And then the king would be forced to go to d7. And then the queen could go ahead and capture the rook on a8. And you can kind of see already that this is basically a hopeless position, but we will continue to mate here. Knight e8 is best here for black. And then queen to c6 check is the fastest route to checkmate here. King forced to go to d8 then. And then white could play rook to h8. Then black's best move in this situation would be playing rook to e5. And white should play pawn to d6. And the best move for black then would be rook captures on g5 check. And probably the best place for, And you have a lot of different options, but probably king to h2 would be best here. Yeah, rook to h5 kind of draws things out. I mean, that's the best you can do to prevent checkmate for the longest. So still playing rook to h5 check. And white should actually play bishop to h3 here. And yeah, if rook takes rook, well then queen here is checkmate. So Yeah. So the rook should just go ahead and capture on h3 if you're trying to prevent checkmate for as long as possible. And the king could go ahead and capture on h3, and it's mate in 2. There's really, now there's no more resources for them to do. I mean, what are you going to do as black? You have nothing, so the best move, I suppose, is pawn to c3, and then just simply queen or rook captures. There's 3 different mates. You could play rook captures e8, that's checkmate. You could play queen captures e8, that's checkmate. Or you could play queen c7, and that would be checkmate because the knight is pinned. So either way, it's all game over. But of course, that's not how far the game went. The grandmaster did resign way back here when the pawn captured on g7. So that's the end of the game. Another grandmaster falls to this superstar Liu Miaoyi. Yeah, thank you for checking that out with me. Please like, subscribe, as I will be making many more videos of Liu Miaoyi's games, as well as other stars, other grandmasters. I also will be posting chess tactics periodically. So if you're into chess, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.